Welcome to In Pursuit 360. And today we are going to talk about what is an interview panel, a law enforcement interview panel. What are they kind of looking for in your answers? We talk a lot about, you may want to consider answering a question this way, you may want to consider answering a question that way. But what are the key things that they're kind of really, what are they looking for out of the answers that you're giving? So I'm going to give you three different things in three different videos that they're looking for. I'll give you a basic rundown of what they are. So we're going to talk about leadership, the ability to problem solve, and the ability to communicate. Those are the three biggies. All right. So we're going to run a three-part series. This is part one. And we're going to talk about leadership, problem solving, and the ability to communicate, and why or how they fit into the interview questions that they're asking you on your police panel. So let's get into it. All right. So again, welcome back to In Pursuit 360. So today's part one, we are going to be talking about leadership. How or what kind of leadership qualities is a law enforcement interview panel going to be looking for in your answers? So what is leadership? Let's figure this out first, right? So what is leadership? Let's talk about the difference between leadership and management first. Management, in order to manage, you're managing things, you're managing processes, you're managing paperwork, you're managing schedules, you're managing your time, right? You manage things. So even as a law enforcement officer, you're going to have to be able to manage your time. You're going to have to be able to manage your paperwork, right? You will have to manage these things while you're out there. But you're going to have to lead people. So who are you going to be leading? Let me block that sun there. Who are you going to be leading? You're going to be leading, how about your fellow officers in a critical call or a critical incident, right? Somebody's got to lead. You think it's always the sergeant or the first sergeant or the corporal or whatever, right? Not always. Leaders are leaders. It's whoever takes control of a situation and can influence others in order to perform a task or in order to accomplish a goal, right? So you lead people, you manage things, you lead people. That's just your coworkers, that's your fellow officers. When you show up on a domestic, you need to be able to lead, right? You need to be able to lead those two people. You need to be able to influence them into understanding why you're there, why you're sticking your nose in their business. So you need to be able to lead those people. You show up on the scene of a fight and you break them apart and you're starting to talk to people. You need to be able to lead. You need to be able to take control of that scene and lead. So a law enforcement officer, they always say it's like the task of many, right? So, I mean, a police officer is a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a marriage counselor, all kinds of counselors, different kinds of counselors that are out there, the stress counselor, they're mitigators and mediators and all that, mentors, right? A police officer is everything all rolled into one. First aid, life-saving CPR. A police officer has to do it all. But in order to do that on any scene, no matter where you are, you've got to be a good leader. So when they're asking you these questions on the interview panel, one of the things that they're trying to find out is what type of leadership skills or traits do you already possess, and are they able to take what you already do or already know and hone them, right? Make them better. How can they make you a better leader? Do you have enough there already that they can work with? So when they ask you certain questions like, name a time when you were at work or at school and you had an issue or a confrontation with somebody, how did you end up working that out? So in other words, did you take a leadership role or did you follow? Did you take a leadership role and influence others to see things the way the way that it needed to in order to bring things to a successful resolution? Or did you just kind of let it go? What did you do? What leadership style or traits did you display in handling any given scenario? That's That's one of the things that they're looking for, because it's critical. You need to be able to stick your nose into somebody else's business and help lead them in the right path, and understand why. Anyway, so it kind of crosses over into the communications thing um, at that point. So, do you possess leadership skills? Then how do you display those in your answers? So again, what do you do if name a time when you were at work or at school and there was a confrontation with somebody or between a group of people. How did you handle it? That's one. How about the other one, the famous one, right? You and your partner go into a store and your partner grabs a bottle of water or a soda or something and walks out without paying for it. What do? Right? Are you going to take the lead? Or are you going to fall into the trap of, well, it's my partner, I'm not going to do anything? Because that's not what they're looking for. You need to be a leader. You need to take control of that situation and say, no, I'm going to go talk to my partner and say, hey, you need to go pay for that. And if they don't pay for it and they're stealing, then you need to report them. You've got to take the lead. You've got to be a leader. You can't let other people influence you into doing something you're not supposed to do. Are your ethics strong enough for you to be a leader on the first day of employment and carry through to your last day of employment, right? So we've seen plenty of examples where people aren't willing to be leaders. And I hate to bring it up, but you think about out there in, I can't believe I can't remember the name right off the top of my head. I mean, it's huge. George Floyd, right? George Floyd and Chauvin, the two rookies that were out there. They didn't do anything because they thought that Chauvin was the senior officer and he knew what he was doing. Those guys knew what he was doing was wrong. Holding him down on the ground that long, and look, no damage to his neck or throat. I don't want to get into all that, right? But after he was asking for help, after he stopped resisting, they then became responsible for him. So to keep him on the ground for 15, 20 minutes or whatever it was, or 17 minutes or whatever, and then not let rescue get to him right away. I mean, they failed miserably. And those rookie officers, they knew better. But they weren't willing to be leaders. They needed to be leaders in that moment and take over. Because Chauvin certainly was not a leader in that scenario. One of those rookie officers should have been. So think about that when you're answering these questions. Are you willing to be a leader in all circumstances? Not just the easy ones where it's a domestic and it's this one against that one. Right versus wrong. Sometimes they're not that clear anyway. But in all of them, including with your fellow officers, are you willing to be the leader? Are you willing to be an ethical leader? Are you willing to be a moral leader? So those are the things, when you're answering these questions, these are things that they're kind of looking for. Those are little key points that they're trying to figure out in your answers. Do you display some type of leadership? And if so, how much? And if so, is it enough? And if so, and it's not quite enough, is it at least enough that they feel like you can be built up, you can be mentored into being the type of leader that they want? So that's it for part one. Part one, those are the key. That's some of the leadership things that they're looking for when they're asking these questions in the interview, that they're trying to pick out of your answers. This is what they're trying to figure out, what kind of a leader you are. Do you have the potential of being a good leader? Because being a leader is influencing others to perform a task or to obtain a goal. So we're always, in law enforcement, we're always either trying to obtain a goal of keeping the peace, obtaining the goal of finding the bad guy, obtaining the goal of creating peace within a household or within a community, right? Are you able to be a leader and influence people to accomplish those goals? So there you go. That is part one. One of the things that they're looking for in your answers is your ability to be a leader. All right? So that's part one. Part 2 and 3 will be coming out later. In the meanwhile, make sure, hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already. If you are already a subscriber, I really appreciate it. We're doing a great job. We're growing slowly but surely. I'm going to try to be better. I've said it before about trying to get these videos out on a more regular basis. I'm not going to give up on you guys. I know that there's always somebody that wants to be a police officer, and thank each and every one of you for wanting to do that. But I will be here for you, I promise. Don't forget, check out Spartan Training Systems, where I do interview coaching over there. Go sign up for a free consult over there. And don't forget, subscribe, hit that thumbs up, thumbs down if you have to, but you got to tell me why, please. Right? Give me that thumbs up. And don't forget, hit that bell notification down there to tell you when the next video is coming out. All right? So in the meanwhile, make sure that you pay attention to all these departments that are hiring all around you, and be safe out there.